Hey everyone, welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're taking a crack at recreating something that I've been pretty much eating my entire life, which are Ling Ling Potstickers. Now, if you grew up an Asian American kid in the 90s like me, there's a pretty good chance that your parents also bought these giant bags of frozen pot stickers from Costco every month or so, and brought them out as a super quick and easy meal on a school night. At the same time, making dumplings from scratch was also a big part of my childhood because of how communal the activity is. I definitely have a lot of memories crowding around the kitchen on Chinese New Year, making 100 pot stickers with the family, so I thought I'd explore that with you too. While we're at it, I also thought it would be fun to take a crack at a vegetarian Japanese gyoza version that actually doesn't suck for you vegetarians out there. We're going to use a few umami boosters to push us in the right direction there. Hopefully this is helpful and informative, or at least somewhat entertaining. Okay, so let's get started. For our wrappers, I'm starting with a 2-to-1 ratio of flour to water. We're going to gradually mix this until combined, cover it with plastic, and set it aside for 15 minutes so the gluten can relax. Then once it's ready, we're liberally flouring our board and forming a ring shape with the dough by punching a hole in the middle and moving it in a circular motion. Once we have a nice ring, we're going to divide it into halves until each piece is about the size of a small coin. Then I'm getting out my rolling pin and rolling each piece with a quarter turn after each roll. This is going to help us get a nice even shape to our wrappers. Once our wrappers are done, we're setting those aside, wiping down our board, and getting ready to work on our filling. I'm going to start with some crushed and minced garlic, followed by some finely minced ginger. Next is the only ingredient that differs from the original recipe, which is baby bok choy. Now, the original chicken and vegetable Ling Lings use cabbage and green onions as its veggie element, but I think the baby bok choy here is going to release a little less water than the cabbage, which is going to help tighten up our filling and avoid a soggy dumpling. If you can't find bok choy, definitely just use cabbage, but make sure to press out as much water from the cabbage as you can. I'm mincing these up, slicing up some green onions as well. As always, remember to back slice with your green onions, then combining all of these together with 1 pound of ground chicken. I'm adding an egg to help bind our filling, then seasoning with kosher salt, pepper, sesame oil, soy sauce, rice vinegar, and our most important ingredient, HOISIN sauce. The sugar from our HOISIN sauce is going to give our dumplings that signature Ling Ling's sweetness that we're all familiar with. Then I'm adding some cornstarch to help tighten up our filling and mixing it all until combined. Moving on to our dumpling making, I'm laying a wrapper flat in the palm of my hand, then using a very small amount of water to dampen the edges of the wrapper, which will help seal it shut later on. Next, I'm adding about a tablespoon of filling to the center of the wrapper and folding it shut with pleats. Now, I've been making dumplings for basically my whole life, and I can honestly say that even I only managed to make about 70% of these look perfect, so don't feel bad if your first few tries don't come out well. I really want to stress here that the imperfections that come out of your dumpling making is a huge part of the experience. It's a special kind of feeling when you can identify a dumpling that you made on the dinner table from its imperfections, which is why I thought it was super important to invite some friends over and help me with these. Everyone say hi to my quarantine pod. Next, I'm using a traditional Chinese bamboo steam basket here, but you can just use a normal steam basket if you don't have one. I'm lining the bottom with cabbage to make sure nothing sticks to the basket, and steaming these for about 10 minutes until tender. Lastly, I'm taking a crack at the iconic Ling Ling's dipping sauce, which is equal parts sweet and tangy. I'm using 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. I'm also adding a bit of sambal olek here for some heat, but feel free to leave this out if you want to stick to the original. Then I'm mixing this all until combined, and we're ready to eat. This dumpling recipe is super nostalgic for me in a bunch of ways. There's something about the combination of sweet and tangy that just brings me back to late dinners after soccer practice when I was a kid. I also had a lot of fun making these with friends, which was another big part of my childhood experience too. I know this is way more work than just pulling some Ling Lings out of the freezer, but if you're looking for something fun to do with your friends or family, I hope you give this a try. Okay, so next I thought I'd riff a bit and get to one of the requests that a lot of you have been asking for, which is a Japanese-style gyoza. Now, as far as I can tell, a gyoza is very similar to a pot sticker other than its origins. Probably what sets it aside most is that they are typically smaller than a Chinese pot sticker and are also made with much thinner wrappers. For our filling, I think the biggest difference here is that we are going to be par cooking our vegetarian filling as opposed to the meat filling, which went in raw. Because of the par cook, we can do a few things with our vegetarian filling to add some flavor, which we couldn't do with our meat filling. I'm starting with some crushed and minced garlic, followed by some finely minced ginger, and then some green onion sliced into fairly large pieces. Next, I'm going to go with some cabbage here since we'll be able to cook off a lot of our excess moisture in our par cook. I'm giving this a large dice and setting it aside. Then I'm peeling and large dicing 1 large carrot into some fairly large pieces. Remember to save your carrot peelings for your stalks later on, followed by some shiitake mushrooms that are rehydrating for 10 minutes in boiling water. Once those have plumped up, remember to save that mushroom water for later on because it's filled with flavor. Then I'm removing the stems of my mushrooms and large dicing these as well. Next, for our sauce, I'm starting with some soy sauce and miso paste for a nice bit of fermented umami flavor, followed by some sesame oil, Shaoxing wine or dry sherry if you can't find this, oyster sauce, chicken stock, and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to thicken it all up. Then I'm mixing it all up until combined and we're ready to cook. Over on our stove, we have our wok heated as hot as possible, and then we're adding 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and coating our wok with it. Next, I'm blooming my garlic and ginger until fragrant for about 20 seconds, followed by my carrots, mushrooms, and cabbage. I'm tossing this until combined and then adding my sauce plus about 1/4 cup of my reserved mushroom water. Then I'm letting this moisture cook off for about 3 to 5 minutes until a thick texture forms. Once this is looking ready to eat, I'm adding my green onions and 1/4 cup of frozen corn at the very end. Toss this again until combined and we're ready to make gyoza. For our gyoza, I'm using some pre-made wrappers this time, but I am making sure to use some wonton wrappers here though, which are generally a lot thinner than dumpling wrappers. Other than that, I'm following the same process as our dumplings. I'm adding a tablespoon of filling, wetting the sides, and folding it shut with some pleats. You'll find it's even more important to wet the sides of pre-made wrappers, which won't press shut as easily as your handmade dough. Once we've perfected our gyoza making after 30 or 40 tries, we're ready to fry. Over on the stove, I'm switching my wok out for a cast iron pan. If you don't have cast iron, any pan with a flat bottom and a non-stick surface will work. I'm using a steam fry technique, which is common with both gyoza and potstickers. I'm starting with 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil, then frying my gyoza for about 3 minutes until browned on the bottom. Then I'm adding 1/4 cup of water, placing a lid on the pan and letting this steam for another 3 minutes. Then I'm removing the lid and letting it fry for another 3 minutes until all of the water has cooked off. This process serves 2 purposes. It makes sure that you get a nice crispy bottom layer with the first fry, plus the steaming process will help cook the wrapper through as well as the filling if you have a meat gyoza. As you can imagine, the frying process with these gyoza make them a lot more rich than our steamed dumplings. In addition to that though, I think the layers of umami that we built with our filling make these super rich in flavor and absolutely kick the pants off of most of the vegetarian potstickers or gyoza that I've ever had. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this Ling Lings nostalgia trip with me. I had a lot of fun exploring the world of dumplings and gyoza, and I'm probably gonna go stuff my face with Ling Lings right now. If you have any requests or questions about dumplings or gyoza or who I am or just general life questions, I guess, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer everyone. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell and do all of the internet stuff, I guess. See you soon.